Smooth 98.1 Lagos, Nigeria world. Here we are. It is gone past 6:30 on a Tuesday morning. And guess who's back in town? Rodas, how are you? It's good to have you back on the show.
Hi, Sope. Thanks for holding down the fort. Thanks. Yeah, it's good to be with you guys again. Good morning. Good
Yeah.
morning to all our viewers.
Listen, guys, as you're watching us on YouTube, check out Rotus's face and see how fresh it is from holiday. Yeah.
I
It's
wish.
called vacation face. Yeah.
I wish.
All
I
right,
wish.
so Rodas, now that you're back, I'm gonna hand things over to you. You get to
Of
run the
course.
show. So what
Of
is gonna
course.
happen is just people join this conversation. Before we get into the conversation, I do remember you can, as you're watching us up on youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, you can leave your comments up on the live chat. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0809 440 981 or go over to Twitter, #BusinessExpress981.
Shopper, thank you so much. And yeah, the shout out to Nairametrics as well, as far as our show for today is concerned. Onome Ohwovoriole, who is of course a frequent analyst with us on the show, is joining us as well. Onome, good morning to you. Hope you are good. Oh, and I think we have our analyst from Nairametrics, Ifeanyi, Ubah. Ifeanyi, good morning to you. Can you hear us?
Well, while we wait for Ifeanyi to get in, Ifeanyi, you are muted. All right, there we go. Ifeanyi, good morning. All right, let's keep going while he gets himself ready.
All right, cool. So, and look, Shopper, you had a great conversation yesterday with Kelvin Emmanuel about the MPC. I just wanted us, because the decision is actually today, so I wanted us to, of course, still continue having that MPC discussion. That's the Monetary Policy Committee and the outcome of their last meeting of the year, because it's a two-day deliberation that started yesterday, concludes today. On what are you expecting as far as the decision that is going to be made later today from the MPC?
Hi, Reuters. I expect interest rates to go up, obviously, because you still have a large gap between where the MPR or interest rate is and where the inflation rate is, So I expect interest rates to go up. I expect the CBN governor to address the issue of the exchange rate. Some talk on it because that's been given a lot of concern.
All right, so we've seen, I think it's three rate hikes. There was one in May from 11.5 to 13%. Then July, it was moved from 13% to 14%. Then September, we went from 14% to 15.5. So we've had, three rate hikes cumulatively. I think about 400 basis points that the MPR has moved from 11.5 to 15.5. Inflation, though, still at 21.09%. Inflation doesn't seem to have moved much. Do you think the rate hikes are having the effect that they need to, or should we look past inflation?
I don't think the rate hikes are particularly, going to drive down inflation. Rather, how I see it is, look, you have your interest rates well below inflation. You have the government doing T-bill borrowing and all that. So you're going to need to make those rates to be as competitive as possible. And the only way you can do that is to raise the baseline interest rate. And most of the inflation in the country is driven by factors other than supply. So for instance, it's cost push, right? The bad roads, insecurity and all that. So then you also have food inflation, which is heavy and all that. So I don't think the rise in interest rate is meant to fix that. But at least on the investing side, you need to make your debt, when you're issuing it, you need to make it a bit more competitive you need to make your savings rate a bit more competitive. Because when you look at it, savings rate is what, 4.something%. That's way below what inflation is doing at the moment.
Mm. And speaking of competitive, the Naira hasn't been competitive. I think there's an article in Nairametrics where I think they were saying they are giving reasons why they expect the rates to be increased today. And again, today's episode is brought to us by Nairametrics. This slide in the Naira at the parallel market and at the official market. That also seems to have, I mean, I know that the Naira is within the purview of the government. What's your, okay, I think we have Ifeanyi with us now. Ifeanyi, can you hear us? Can you unmute your mic?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. You're welcome. It's good to have you again. But this, this episode brought to us by Nairametrics. Ifeanyi is an analyst with Nairametrics. So I was just talking to Onome about what his expectations are with respect to the outcome of today's Monetary Policy Committee conclusion for their meeting. What do you expect? Do you Onome thinks there's going to be another rate hike? What are you expecting as far as the benchmark rate is concerned?
Yeah, so definitely another rate hike is part of the possibilities. Inflation has not retracted regardless of the multiple rate hikes that has previously been handed out by the CBN. So all eyes are on inflation, and we are not seeing inflation losing steam. So we do expect the CBN to, apply a more aggressive stance, and even the IMF have proposed this measure and suggested it in their last meeting and saying, okay, yes, we know that the inflation is not going as you should, but I still think a contractionary policy is going to be good. And they are looking in terms of policy. We have seen the CBN redesign of the Naira trying to mop up money in circulation, and we are seeing money supply hitting all-time highs. These are very tremendous times because, we are having high interest rate hikes. We are supposed to be seeing a slowdown in money supply. But because of this policy of the redesign of the Naira, we are seeing so many other economic activities going on. Like people that had their Naira in Congo are trying to get it back into the country. So we had this much Naira. So what it actually means, the figures that CBN actually had for currency in circulation are definitely off. So with the money coming back into the banks, we're going to see a tremendous move from what CBN is going to do. And one thing I know about Emefiele is that he's very innovative in his policies. So on the policy issue, we should see a very innovative policy trying to handle giving the data, because now he has gotten some data that we might not be privy to at this time. So definitely a rate hike. And I want to see the next policy move because I feel it will be informed by what he has seen in the last couple of months since the special meeting.
Thanks for that, Ifeanyi. I was actually going to get to that. Ifeanyi mentioned that the IMF suggesting that, CRR is good where it is. They support the policy with respect to raising the cash reserve ratio. That's for our listeners there, which is, of course, the amount of cash that needs to be domiciled with the central bank. I think it's 37.5 now. Onome, what do you make of the IMF stance supporting where CR is and calling for more rate hikes, more tightening?
Okay, I'm totally fine with the rate hikes. I think we should have started doing that a long time ago. For the CRR, I'm not too comfortable with. I wouldn't like to see a further rise in CRR. Because look, when you tighten CRR, right, you suck out liquidity from the banking system, and that makes loans more expensive. I don't think at this time, if you want to stimulate an economy, you want to make loans more expensive. So I would rather the CBN look at some roundabout way to deal with, banks and just having enough liquidity. So you don't want liquidity so that banks don't play the FX space unduly. And at the same time, we don't want to tighten the liquidity in the banking system that makes borrowing expensive, So I'd rather leave CRR where it is and find some administrative way to deal with that.
Thanks, Onome. What do you make of the IMF calling for the CBN to ease up or even stop its intervention funds in the different sectors of the economy?
Well, it's a very good advice. No economy can sustain from the CBN constantly intervening. There's supposed to be a little bit of neutrality. And even if Dr. Godwin Emefiele have proposed that his economics is what we call developmental central banking, there should still be a limit, particularly when he's fighting high inflation numbers and high money supply. So there's no reason trying to crunch the bank when you're giving trillions in intervention funds to the government through ways and means and other measures. So this is what they're saying. So like I said, all eyes are still on inflation. So the inflation is not like lessening. What are the factors? Where is the money coming from? Where's the money going? And we are saying that, like, aside from squeezing the banks, you have to look at, okay, let's look at the public sector too. You guys need to start paying back all your loans, or we need to stop giving you funds at this pace.
All right. Sope?
Quickly, let me just take this message from Ogene who says, the CBN governor innovation, he should tell his employer the actual truth and fix the fiscal issues. Number one is security.
That is a good point there, and I know we only got a couple minutes to go.
About a minute, yeah.
Onome and Ifeanyi, quickly, if you can, just to round up the fiscal side, the support from the fiscal side. I know the monetary side can't do everything. That Ogenechukwo's message about insecurity. How much responsibility does the fiscal side have in trying to help out the monetary side, Onome? Very quickly.
I mean, I think that what I'd like to see from the fiscal side is, getting rid of the fuel subsidy or cutting it down drastically. I think that's the biggest thing I'd like to see them do. Insecurity, that's going to take a while to fix.
Thank you, Onome. Ifeanyi, what do you think about the support from the fiscal side, like Ogenechukwo's message there on security and other things?
Yeah, I also agree. So, like I said, we need to have this harmony between what the CBN is trying to achieve in terms of reducing inflation and money supply, and what the fiscal policy objectives are too. So immediately we have this synergy and harmony. We need to have more communications between the financial minister and the CBN, even if it's just on a courtesy basis, because one thing we are seeing right now is that this move the CBN just did was a mind-blowing move, but the finance minister wasn't prevailed. I'm not saying by constitution you should be prevailed, but there should be a more symbiotic relationship between our principal officers.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you both. Ifeanyi, Ubah, analyst with Nairametrics, Onome, Ohwovoriole, another analyst, of course, joining us as well. Thank you, guys. Sope, okay, I think that ought to do it.
All right, and that was Business Express for Tuesday morning, brought to you by Nairametrics. Thank you so much, Rhodas. It's great to have you back. Yay!
Thank you.
And go send your messages to him and your welcomes to him up on Twitter. He is at RoadPanCode on Twitter and Instagram. He's always posting on both of them. All right.